Think of all your favorite fairy tales as a kid. Now, think about those books you liked when you were a little bit older. All of these books are considered children's literature. Did you know SFA offers a minor in children's literature? Learn more about this minor on today's Purple Pride.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Purple Pride. I'm your host, Devonte Hill, and today we're going to discuss children's literature. With us is Dr. Nowan Austin. Dr. Austin, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. How about you?
That's good. So what exactly is children's literature?
Children's literature is the study of literature written for young audiences. The interesting thing about it is it didn't start off that way. Right. It actually started off as a series of very violent, didactic, overtly sexual tales that were really designed to instruct little adults. We didn't think of children as the way that we think of children now, as free and frolicking and whatnot. In the earlier centuries, children were thought of as little adults, so they had these manuals basically that explained to them how to be good, upstanding Christian citizens who were loyal to the monarchy so they didn't burn in everlasting hellfire. So that's really how it has evolved. Now it has become a myriad of different things into a few different subgenres. It's a lot more interesting now in our field of study, but it didn't start out the way that we study it now. It really didn't.
Now we're going to ask a few students what they felt the children's literature was and what their favorite book as a child was. We're going to talk a couple about children's literature minors.
Books for children between the time they're born and 18, where the wild things are.
It's kind of self-explanatory to me. I don't know. I guess books for children, I guess.
What do you think children's literature is?
I think children's literature is any book. It could be a picture book, a storybook, a fairy tale. It's any story that inspires a child to really pursue reading, and it's what gets them started in reading before you actually, delve into like chapter books and stuff. When I grow up.
So what's your background involving in children's literature?
Well, my doctoral study is from Illinois State, and it was one of the very first programs that dedicated itself just to the study of children's literature at the graduate level. So I actually did my undergrad and my bachelor's and master's I did here at SFA.
Jackson.
Jackson. And I then went on to do the PhD at Illinois State in Bloomington Normal. So there we worked with some of the people who actually have invented the field as we know it now. And we got to see their publications, read their publications as they were coming out, talk with them. We had classes with them, so it was just it was an unbelievable experience, and it has grown by leaps and bounds even since the time from the late '90s till now. It's just unbelievable how big it's become. But that's where my background primarily is from up there in Illinois.
So do you know any well-known theorists in children's literature?
Yes, there are theorists that there are lots of them. The ones that have done a lot the most. Well, I hate to say the most because that sounds like I'm leaving some of them out. Sorry if I don't mention your name, y'all. But some of our leading theorists right now that are defining the way we look at children's literature as a genre and young adult literature would be Karen Coates. Roberta Seelinger Trites, Peter Hunt, Peter Elbow, Peter Hunt, I'm sorry, not Peter Elbow. I'm getting him, Michelle Martin, definitely. She does a lot with race in children's literature and the bodily image and so on, especially with African American children's literature.
How would you how would you explain that to children? Like, how would you even?
Well, one of the things that we do in our class is that kind of shocks people when they come in. We don't dedicate ourselves a lot to pedagogy in terms of the teaching of it. We are looking at children's literature to try to figure out what the child subject is thinking, being, doing, and what the influences that we have, you know, the stories that we've told them, the ideologies that we place them in, how that has effect on them. And by studying them and reflecting that in the literature, we learn a little bit about ourselves too. I like to think anyway. But we target not so much the child audience in the classes, but the adult audience, so that we can then take our understanding and apply that to the child. We hope. We hope that that's successful. Sometimes it is.
So how do you begin the process of starting a children's literature minor?
Oh, wow. When we started the minor, we basically had to go through a lot of different channels. The way curriculum is created at most universities, but I can tell you how it's created here at Stephen F. Austin. We started with an initial proposal within our department because we saw interest in the classes that we were teaching. We only had 2 on the books primarily, but they were of considerable interest. There was at one time, the elementary ed majors would have to come over and take that course and so on. But we'd also get people who needed upper division courses or upper division work in writing intensive 300 level classes and so on. So we put together a proposal and we send it to our college council, which is composed of a panel of experts from every discipline. And they look at the merit of it and decide whether or not they want to pass it on to the undergraduate curriculum committee, which is the provost committee. And Dr. Berry is our provost, very, very supportive of anything innovative that we try to do here on the campus. They send it to the undergraduate curriculum committee, and if they approve it, they pass a recommendation to Dr. Berry. And if he finds no problem with it, or that it's not redundant or anything like that, it's something new that's exciting for SFA, he'll approve it. And it goes in, usually the calendar year following, and that's how we did it. It took a lot of hard work from a lot of people, but we got it done.
So what classes in the English department are considered for the children's literature?
In children's literature right now, we're up from 2 to I think 5, and it's real early, so I'm gonna try to remember. We have English 250, which is the study literature for young children, and we basically concentrate on young children from 2 to 8. Right. We have 351, which is fairy tales. And fairy tales is a course where we discuss the fairy tales, what I like to call the un-Disneyed fairy tales. Yes. We talk about the original fairy tales from, you know, that Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm were telling, you know, that were violent and, you know, sexual and, I mean, just unbelievably bawdy, you know, and how they evolved and how those same themes show up today. So fairy tales. Then we have a course called 352, which is special topics in children's literature, which could be anything from the Twilight Saga to supernatural in children's lit. 353 is the golden age of children's literature, and we, in that course, we basically talk about the Victorian influence of children's literature as it goes. And then from there, I'll try to go quickly. 354 is picture books. We look at picture books and story books, and in that class we're considering how the bodily image actually shapes, you know, the child's consciousness. And then, of course, we've got 350, which is a survey, a typical survey of children's lit, the genres that we have, the top 7, mythology, short story, poetry, and so on. And then 356 is young adult literature. And those are, I think I have managed to name them all. I think. But I'm pretty sure that's it. But we have a wide array of courses now, from just 2. So it's been good. It's been good.
That's crazy. We're talking to a couple of students about the children's literature minor and how the chance of a minor and what the classes have. So.
When I was a kid, I loved reading, and so it's really cool to go back and look at all the children's books that I read as a kid and read them as an adult and study them as an adult. I've taken young adult lit, and I'm in picture books right now. I really liked young adult, but I also really like golden age of children's lit. Oh, I have to take fairy tales, which I'm really looking forward to.
I used to be an elementary ed major, and I got to internship and I didn't like it, so I switched to being an art major, and I had to find a minor that would fit with the art, and I've always loved children's books, so all of the stuff that I learned in elementary ed kind of went over into children's literature, so I picked that. I have taken 250, which is literature for young children, 350, which is children's lit, 356, which is young adult lit, which was my favorite, and I'm taking Golden Age of Children's Lit right now and picture books. The children's lit people are letting me take one of my elementary ed reading classes to substitute for fairy tales, but I'm really disappointed that I'm not getting to take fairy tales.
So what classes do you teach?
Minor, I typically teach, English 350, which is the survey, and we cover, the 7 big, subgenres of children's lit. I teach 356, young adult literature. I teach 354, which is picture books, and I teach, what's the other class? I have taught 250 literature for young children, but only once. At some point I will. There's another course. I forgot, of course. There's English 355, which is gender and sexuality in children's literature, and I have not taught that yet. We have another colleague who does that, but I will be teaching that course.
So is that your favorite? Or
no, my favorite. To be honest, my favorite course to teach. It's a toss-up. My favorite course to teach would probably be 350 because you get to cover so many different genres. You cover the fairy tale, the folk tale, mythology, poetry, the picture book, and so on. You get to hit kind of a genre survey. And my second favorite would probably be young adult lit because there's so much going on in young adult lit right now. And it's interesting because you have to make the move. You have to be very cautious about what you read in young adult lit because, of course, it's, there's, just like anything else, there's about 25% of it that's good and merit-worthy, and the rest of it is just trash. It's just absolute trash. It's horrible stuff. Horrible. But those would be my 2 favorite classes.
Okay, cool. So what are opportunities for advancement in this field, like the master's, the doctorate programs?
Well, there are at Hollins University. There is a master's program that's been respected for a very, very long time. And they regularly house our peer-reviewed journals. The peer-reviewed journals in our field, they move around. But if you are interested in graduate work, there are a lot of different possibilities that you would have. Library science would be one. You could work with children, even though we don't discuss pedagogy in great detail. What you learn in that class can help you become a very effective curriculum director, especially at the high school level where they're trying to move and balance between some of the traditional literature and some of the young adult literature. You also have the opportunity to go and teach children's literature to undergraduate students at 2-year and 4-year colleges. So there are programs now that are popping up just about everywhere. At one time there were only 2 or 3, and now there are lots of programs that have graduate work in children's lit. But you will have ample opportunities to work in a myriad of different fields if you study children's lit, because you get a lot of skills there with the close reading, and you got to be very, very, very close. You pay very, very close attention to detail. So these skills transfer into a lot of different fields.
So then, how would somebody get more information about the minor?
If you want more information about the minor, there are a couple things. You can go on our department website at SFA and just click on the English department. There'll be a link for minors. You can also contact me at nqaustin at sfasu.edu. You can call the English department directly at 2101. They'll transfer you to me. You could also talk to a brilliant colleague of mine, Dr. Christine McDermott, as well. Any of us would be willing to help.
All right, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, so Dr. Austin, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. I'd like to thank you for joining us.
Oh, no problem.
That's all the time we have today. Have a great day, Nacogdoches.